Okay. What's up? What's up? Yeah, don't die of thirst. Yeah. It's yeah. It's a logical fear. So nothing's quenchier. Yeah. But man, we're starting really close to on time for once. Yeah, I know. I'm what 2 minutes late. That's a shame on me. Yeah. Hey, it's been a while. And even before the last time I streamed before this, it had been a bit of But hey, we rebound. I thought I was gonna get a few more. What are you reading right now? Oh, I think I saw you post the picture of the books, right? In the Discord, right? If I'm not mistaken. The God Killer. No? Clock was. I thought you were reading the, I don't know, whatever trilogy that's called. Sunbringer. Damn, you finished it this morning. A Fallen Gods novel. That's what it was. Yeah, you're right. Those covers are really nice. Really catches your attention. Okay. So we're waiting on the finale. It's a very me book. What does that mean? I think the art looks great, by the way. Ay. Oh, heavy focus on gods and religious symbolism. Oh yeah, for a lots of knighthood and drama and fighting. Oh, okay. So very. I was gonna make a joke about the Catholic school upbringing, but yeah. Yeah, martyrs. I love martyrs. It's interesting because this is something I've been kind of like. I I mean, I talked about it literally last time I streamed, which at this point I do not know how long ago I wrote this. If there was a way to to check the log for the last time I put entries into the world update section. Um, but like I'm part of me is kind of waffling, or maybe not waffling. Maybe waffling is not the best term for this, but what is waffling? To speak at length. Failure to make one of okay. So I'm not wrong about this, thankfully. Failing to make up one's mind. Yeah. I kind of regret not having like some sort of like, maybe not gods exactly, but some sort of like stand in for like religious orders and stuff like that. Yeah. We have the solemns for like deities and stuff like that, but I do I think I do regret like a bit not having like a number of interesting orders, you know, dedicated to like at the very least like a specific lifestyle of some sort. Um, I mean, well, yeah, like I guess on one hand, it's like I could always add them in, right? Like, you know, um, but at the same time, it's like, you know, you could do a Fey route if you really wanted to. Maybe gods. Oh, a god route if you really wanted. Yeah, maybe not gods. But definitely try to figuring out. I think that's gonna be like one of the things. Figuring out some sort of situation like that. Oh, okay. Fair enough. I get it. So your world is heavily focused on gods, not God. Yeah, not the one and holy Christian Lord, right? It's a it's a bit more than yeah. That'd be pretty interesting though, right? You know, the Christian God, and then and then Faye, like you know, what the hell? Yeah, who knows what has been lurking behind the veil and all? Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. It's true. Yeah, but yeah, I've been kind of waffling on like, maybe we should, you know, like maybe it would be cool to have something like this, some things like this, kind of injected into the world. Because, I mean, I don't know how many people are in the community because the no God aspect, right? Like, I guess some people probably think that idea is pretty interesting, but I don't know how many people are like, you know, this is it, right? Like, like, you know, if you change this, we're done. You know, I don't know. Jesus, sorry for the yawn. It's not because you're boring me, because I would have loved it. Yeah, yeah, and it kind of super religious focused. Yeah, like imagine if there was like a religion, especially now with like the next series of campaigns, everything else. How I don't know could could bring it, make it full circle. You know, I don't know. At the same time, maybe like developing the culture of the people already without this like without this aspect has made it pretty interesting. Because then if you add that on, like add this on top, it's like, oh wow, you know, we've already got the culture, we've already got like all of these things, and then to add in like some sort of, I don't know, I'm not sure. Uh, yeah, there's also cults, right? Yeah, there's also like, and as much as I try to like, as much as I try to fight against it, I think that for the most part, it's pretty hard to avoid some sense of belief system, right? Like, yeah. Kind of hard to wrap your head around them. So used to religious quotes in the row. Yeah, like there's yeah. I always felt like it was left as sort of a blank space that everyone could fill in, sort of. And a shift wouldn't be weird as there has been a lot going on in the world. Yeah, yeah, especially with the intention, at least, for the setting or the area of the next like round of campaigns and like how they'll be playing out and stuff. I feel like we're in like a relatively decent spot where, you know, if anything, at least like the Dukan people can kind of start out like even if we keep like let's say like Volgia or like Vogmodir, like these people as like, you know, like quote unquote like pagans, you know, who don't necessarily, I don't know, whatever. They have their like they have like the Bridge of Swords and they have like the Belimar and all that stuff. All this that like Ram has kind of worked on. If we keep that as like that's their thing, you know, that's their belief system, and then having like the Dukan people being like more opposite of that, you know, more of like this sort of, yeah, like ordered style. That could be a fun way, right? Could have them essentially worship their leaders. Speak of the devil. What's up, Ram? What's up? Yeah, yeah. We're talking about Vogons being pagans and and potentially the Dukanese being having like developing out the Dukan a bit more to have some sort of like order style of belief attached. I don't know though. Yeah, it's yeah, the Dukan sneeze. Yeah. It yeah. Let me get some music on actually. Just, let's see. There we go. So no gods, but they believe in gods. No, I definitely don't want to like. That's the thing. They're definitely not adding gods in, right? But I think like what has kind of missed or missed out, I guess, is like this more. I don't want to say like, yeah, like belief system, like spiritualism or something. Yeah, where it like guides. I mean, there could be like yeah, you had the Bridge of Swords for Pokemon. Exactly. Yeah, like kind of bringing something like that to Dukan. Um, like militarized spiritual orders or something, you know? Cuz it's tough, you know? At least it's tough for me. Maybe I'm too human. But it's difficult for me sometimes because like my intuition says like at a certain point like some set of like, you know, belief system about like life and death is going to kind of figure itself out, right? Because it's just you look at like human history, like there's been a ton of like belief systems, right? Like, you know, all throughout. It starts almost supremely early, right? And then yes, I guess Bushido style. Hmm. Like the moral code, right? Trying to think. Ideas like ethics, loyalty. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Honor until breath. Breath. Honor until breath. Jesus. Honor until death. Bravery. Loyalty to the samurais. Or Dukan being commerce focused, they have a yin and yang give and take belief. Yeah, that could be something. Yeah. Yeah, I think yeah, I just think there's like room for hmm. I think like reading this, it was thinking like, yeah, what you reap you sow. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, it could be interesting. Yeah. Cause how be things going? What's up, Hungry Cobalt? How you doing? How you doing? Just having like a bit of a hangout, you know, just more of like a chat. Uh gonna be talking some advanced Dungeons and Dragons first edition. And just kind of hanging out. Got some campaigns in the prep line. Probably talking about those as well. Hmm. Yeah. But it seems to me at least that there's kind of a like the only way it's been justified so far has been like just ignore this completely. Um, but I like the idea of like clerics, you know, in the world, and I've been reading a lot lately, and I'm like really drawn to the Conan style of like law and chaos. it's it's been very influential lately. Um, and trying to like wondering, like what are some interesting ways to kind of incorporate that stuff a little bit, you know? Yeah, reinforce the veil stuff some more. Yeah, that could be good. Like, what do people see it as genuinely, right? Because right now it's just like this metaphysical, right, concept. Like life. It's almost like saying life comes from beyond, right? You know. Oh, that's good. Yeah, if the veil has like a positive, negative energy. Yeah, right. Because you got to think that if people go into, say, people see beyond the veil, right? Not all of them come back as like positive beings, and not everything that comes into the world of Ekros is a positive creature, right? Like you would say, like humans, right? All of the all of the races that you can kind of play, right? The humans, the dwarves, the elves, despite like whatever like issues they have between them, there's probably like this overall idea that like they are positively aligned, right? Um, despite their interpersonal disconnects, like a human's more likely to trust like an elf, right? Yeah. Whereas certain creatures, you know, hungry kobolds, for example, or like hobgoblins, um, uh, what else? Goblins in general, right? Um, the rats, like all of these are almost certainly, negatively aligned. Yeah, butt sharks, all of these are like, at the very least, incongruent with the side of life that views itself as like positively aligned, right? Like a human could have reservations, I guess, about an elf, but they will never trust a goblin, right? That's kind of like the more in line of like what I'm thinking, or like they'll trust, um, yeah, a human will trust a dwarf, but they'll never trust, like a bugbear or Ekros could be the gray area between the two halves of the veil. Hmm. Yeah. Oh, that's another idea too, right? Like the idea could be that like if you're in Ekros, you're here momentarily, right? Like this is the hmm. That could be pretty cool. Yeah. Or also the idea like you arrive through the veil and you leave through the veil. So like maybe your time on Ekros is just yeah, just rationalizing that. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah, the same, right? Like I'm not this is it. No. But yeah, kind of like that idea, right? Like yeah, like when you're in Ekros, you're on a journey through the veil, right? You will, and death is making it to the other side. Just sounds like a wormhole. Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, yeah, exactly. The Bridge of Swords. It's exactly yeah. Like Ekros is itself the Bridge of Swords, right? And then once you die, you've crossed that Bridge of Swords, and to others, you've passed back through the veil. That'd be a cool idea. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, we should probably do some more work on this. um, maybe like you know what? Like if I'm yeah Yeah, cool way of looking at different cultures having a different attitude towards it. Yeah, right. Like, you know, like there's probably like cultures that think like, oh, well, like the time, like they might have like a more, I don't know, quote unquote like Christian aspect of looking at things, right? Like, like the time you have here is only momentary. You will be judged when you pass the veil. I don't know. Yeah, and I think the connection with like positive, or let's say like law and chaos, right? Like law and chaos kind of, yeah, yeah. So there wouldn't be one static belief. Yeah, yeah. I think that works a lot. Yeah, Valdir's would definitely see it as like, yeah, it's like judgment at the end, right? Almost like more Christian focused, right? Like how you lived your life, you know. You will be judged when you cross the veil or whatever term they would have. Um, yeah, yeah, that could be cool. Um, but yeah, I think now, I mean, I feel like every time I say something, it always just like fucks itself. But I think like from now on, like or at least I am back into like Monday, Wednesday, Friday streaming, you know, um, in preparation, and then games getting started. I've been running a offline game, testing out the ideas to see how they feel, um, leading up to like actually implementing it in the community. Because I didn't want to do it if it felt like it was not going to work. Because the idea is essentially changing Ekros into like an always on game, right? That's kind of like what one-to-one downtime pacing does. It kind of changes your setting like always on. And then like the faction play stuff and everything. I've been doing like a test essentially. It's also learning the rules of the system, as a DM, because from the player side, I don't think this is going to be a I don't think it's going to be like very difficult to learn at all. Maybe best practices will probably take a little bit to kind of get a hold of, but as a player, it's probably a lot easier. Um, but as a DM, it's or as a GM, referee, whatever you want to call it, probably gonna take a bit more. So, I think initially I had told people it was gonna be BX basic. And the more I started with BX off stream as well. And I kept it yeah, basic bitch, exactly. So it was gonna be basic D&D. And I had the same like 5e issue where there was like, it wasn't the case that there wasn't enough rules, but for what I wanted to do, it felt like there was not enough codified stuff. And then I I found myself like, well, I could probably make like a system for this, or I could probably borrow from like a couple of systems. Like we could do like the economy from this system. We can do wargaming with this system, and then we can do like the computer, like the player facing stuff with this system, right? Like we'll do BX for this basic system, and then we'll do like this and this, and it felt very clunky. It felt like like it felt like the 5e problem where like at the base it's so simple, but if you wanted to do like a few more interesting things, you basically had to like ratchet on systems outside of it. And so it felt incomplete, I guess, in that sense. Um, and then I came across advanced D&D. Oh, and also one thing is like with basic, I was finding out that like, because the way the rules work on that one, it feels very, it's like it's almost very feast or famine. Like if you get bad rolls on the character, but they're not bad enough to outright dismiss the character, then you're almost just like purposely waiting for that character to die, so you could just like roll a new character and see if your luck is better. Like basic, it's like 3d6 down the line, so you don't get to choose where your stats go. It's just, you know, like you roll 3d6, so the bell curve, I guess, of your stat array is it's leaning much to the lower end. And so I looked into advanced first edition, and I think that's what we're going to be moving forward with. I mean, that's 100% what we're going to be moving forward with. There's a lot of familiar stuff in it, right? Rolling stats, it's like 46 drop the lowest, so your stat array is distributed a bit higher, right? More opportunities for big skills, right? Stuff like that. So yeah. But AD&D is quite codified. It appears very difficult from a referee standpoint, but the more I'm reading it, the more I'm actually putting like the rule stuff into practice. It's actually like it's kind of crazy. It's actually very if I was just looking at the rules, I would say this is insane. This is very clunky. This is very, not good. But the more I played around with them, the rule system is pretty elegant. Obviously there's a hurdle to like learn some of the stuff, but like once you learn it, it seems like adjudicating stuff is like it's a breeze, So that's where I'm at. It'll be advanced. Very similar to what we were going to play anyways, which was basic. A lot of similarities there. Most people were playing basic and then advanced came out and they kind of, took some stuff from it. I'm going to be playing advanced 1E down the line. I'm going to be playing raw, Yeah. But like character survivability is a lot higher, right? I mean, you're still very vulnerable, but you're way more vulnerable than like 5th edition, right? But character survivability and strength is a bit higher, right? There's a few things. So yeah, I think it'll be interesting. Yeah, I'm not sure how much I'll be into it personally, but I don't mind trying it out. Yeah. Super character focused for sure. Yeah, it's gonna be a bit of a I don't know. Definitely a learning curve, both for me, but also for like the players, right? Like getting into a different style of play. Yeah, it's like kind of like a return to older style games. Sorry, answering a message really quick. But yeah, I think it's simple to learn from a player perspective. And yeah, I think it'll be better. I don't know. It'll be more interesting, I guess. Playing it out, seeing it how it goes. And then like the patron play stuff and the faction play stuff, I think once people start actually playing it, I think that's going to be a lot more grabbing than it seems on paper, right? Like reading it probably doesn't feel like, oh, it's going to be, it's going to be a big deal or anything. But I think like one thing I've noticed, at least so the people I've been playing with offline are also newer edition players. They've never played a classic edition. They're also would probably describe themselves as pretty character focused players, right? They'd never really like played this older style. And seeing their reaction to it, it's like once you get it, I guess, like once you get it, you know, like quote unquote, you know, it's like this, it unlocks this, you know, this really, I don't know, like interesting part of your mind. I feel like it kind of like opens players up to like the potential that editions like 5th edition promise you. I feel like this actually gives you, right? Like the character focused stuff, it seems like these are character focused players who are more into their characters than they've ever been, you know? Because it's not like there's no role play. It's still a role playing game, right? Like but yeah, it's like once you make it past like a hump, you're like, oh man, this is. It kind of like, I don't know. It expands your mind. Like, that's what these players have been telling me, at least. And for me as a referee or as a GM, it's been the same thing. It's been like, oh my goodness, like I've been trying to get this feeling from running a game for so long, and it's the same feeling I got when I played like my first time ever playing, and way back when I was super young, and how that experience was. Yeah, the book says referee, right? You're a referee. You adjudicate what happens, you know? The crazy thing is like, okay, like I feel like talking about it, like I come across like I'm just like gushing like a loser, you know? But seriously, like the players are all making every decision, right? The group of players has made every choice so far. I haven't presented them with anything, right? I haven't done anything. I've only given them. Yeah, I'm saying I'm not a loser. Yeah, I appreciate that. You've hurt my feelings, and now I will not stream for another 2 weeks. I'm just. But but yeah, these are. It's all part of your revenge thing. Yeah. But these are players who would call themselves like very role play, very character focused players. And once they got past like small kind of hurdle that there is to kind of get into the new style of play, they care about the characters way more. They care about the world way more. They care about like it's insane, you know. And I think for the people that do get it, I think like this experience is going to be like next level. I don't know. Maybe this is like over promising something, but it's like it's been a revolutionizing epiphany, you know? Like the principles of which I'm like playing, you know, are I'm super hyped now. Better deliver. Yeah. Yeah, like the principles I feel like would work in any system though. Like that's the crazy part about it. I don't even think this is specific to this older style of play. I think you could probably do this same stuff, patron play. I think like I was reading the history of the stuff. Like patron play came up from a person playing 5e already. Like they were playing 5e, and then they just kind of like they were the first to kind of really discover this patron style of play. Yeah. It's like how I felt watching the first Rebel Moon trailer. Yeah. Did you watch it? Did you enjoy the actual movie? The second one is already out, right? You know, I don't know if I don't know if somebody like made a joke post. Um, somebody said like, oh, that this I watched it for 12 minutes, then turned it off. All right, damn. I guess it fucking sucks. Damn. I think somebody completely joking said the exact opposite. They said like, oh, this I don't know what it is. This movie scratches like a 40K itch. Is I think that's what I read. And I was like, really? What the fuck? Like, no way. That's not what the trailer told me. You know. But it made me go like, damn, like maybe I should really check this movie out. Yeah, yeah, okay, yeah. So it's somebody just fucking with people. Okay, dude, I'm telling you, man. These like these like non-serious. This person is not like at times they're serious, but at other times it's almost like heavy sarcasm, and I'm assuming this is much in the vein of the sarcasm, right? Like it's I don't care what anybody says. Rebel Moon scratches a 40K itch. And I was like, wow, that's pretty high praise. Like maybe it's way better than I thought. Everybody's been shitting on it. Or just saying like, oh, it's like very generic, right? It's not very good. Maybe they're missing something. And yeah. But yeah, definitely bait, you know? It's like people just fucking around. That's a shame. 12 minutes. God damn. That is insane. What a terrible movie. 40K, but remove all the trademarks. I watched the entire first movie. I'm never getting that time back. Yeah. I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry you yeah, you had to sit through that, you know. Dude, the pain of like wanting something good, like wanting some good like sci-fi action type films, and not getting them. Uh, also, I've seen like rumors that Cavill is going to be exiting the 40K Amazon show. So that one seems wild. That seems wild to me. I know there's like a big drama within the 40K community now because the whole um female custodies, I think. Yeah, femme studies. Yeah. And there's a lot of like one half of the conversation is trying to paint everybody who has an issue with it as like a sexist, bigoted piece of shit. And then like people on the other side are like, it's not that. There's just so many cool females already. Custodies are supposed to be like this one thing. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know the I dropped out of like 40K a long time ago, so it's seeing it from the outside in, or outside, yeah, from the outside in. Um, it seems, I don't know, it seems reasonable. It doesn't seem like the issues that people are having are crazy, but it's always been canon meme. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like there've always been uh female custodies, right? Like that was the whole thing. But yeah, it's so yeah, that's been a wild thing to say. Yeah, yeah. I wish they weren't. Yeah, yeah. It's. I don't know. Yeah, I don't like getting into that stuff because it's very. I don't know. It feels very weird to have an opinion on it when I'm not like a 40K person, anyways. But just seems a little weird. But yeah, dude, if Cavill exits the show, like fuck, that's like that's you know that's like that's fuck. That means like my interest in that show is just dead, right? It's dead in the water. Like I've got no interest if he's not attached. Can always have an opinion about the drama. I mean, yeah, it's the thing is like it'd be super uninformed because I really haven't looked into it. I just know the premise is women custodies, and that being like it was never the case because I think like studies were always men specifically because there are the gene, right? The gene seed of the emperor or something like that. Um, and then there's like a weird thing there. Uh, but yeah, it is strange to me though because for sure in 40K there's already like a huge like a plethora of like badass female characters and stuff, right? Like there's a huge draw. Some of the best armies I think are like women only. So it seems really strange like to try to shoehorn like this also in, right? Like there's already like female only armies, right? I saw the argument that Amazon demanded it. Wow. Yeah, that'd be wild. Yeah, then it kind of boils down to like major corporation has no idea, it doesn't know anything about the the intelligence, uh, intellectual property of that they have that they've yeah. They wanted a female character to be powerful without armor. Uh, I feel like that's a thing already in 40K though, right? Like I mean, okay, so Sisters of Battle are, yeah, I'm looking it up now. Sisters of Battle are armored. I mean, just buff chicks in armor. Okay, dude, that looks so cool though. Like, you know, like why have an issue with this? The Sisters of Battle have always looked fucking sick. Like, I don't know, dude. There's so many that look so fucking. I'm looking at just like the minifigures. So many of the minifigures look so fucking. Yeah, some of the most iconic. Yeah, yeah. Imagine having an issue with this. Oh well. Yeah, it's shit is crazy out there, you know? It's it seems like that's what it boils down to. But yeah, definitely one of the most iconic for sure. Sister Battle have always been badass. Have a going, buddy. Have a going. Thanks for hanging out a little bit. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Oh yeah, I got your message too, by the way. I'll check it out. Add it up. Yeah. But yeah, I think next week it'd be cool to run like maybe even like next Friday have it be like the intro, the like test, the test day for like other groups of people. Like this is how you make a character, this is how it plays. Kind of like experience some of that stuff. Let a group of people kind of get a chance to check it out. I think that'd be pretty enjoyable. But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I'm telling you, Molk, as it was recently spelled, or Melk, as it was recently spelled. Um, the 5e players, the more like character focused players, like they are like, I've never seen these players as into something. Um, like they've described it as like almost like an MMO, like knowing that every day something is happening is like this very, this very character um building thing, like knowing that your character's building. Like for instance, this past week, there's training in AD&D. So like to reach your next level, you have to train, right? Like you have to spend some time out. But with 1-to-1 downtime pacing means like you literally that character can't be there, So one of the players had to run a backup character um for the session, basically. And then in the session we used a few days. We kind of drew from the well of like downtime for the following week. And then it was enough days that character could come back in. So like they ran one character, and then they switched back to their main once they trained and got their level up. And then we did something, and it was pretty pretty interesting. But they've all just said like, wow, like they've never been as invested in characters before. And maybe it's the daily like knowing something is happening every day sort of situation, or the style of play. I don't know. But it's been yeah, been quite an enjoyable time. Yeah, definitely have to test it out. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's different in a lot of ways. Right? Or see someone else do it, so I make less of a fool of myself. Yeah, yeah. I'm getting the job squad prepped up for it. Um, every time we do something new, we gotta bring them in and you know rip them to pieces so that everybody else can yeah, so they can so, so that everybody else can learn from the mistakes. Yeah, the test subjects. Yeah, and yeah, so we're kind of getting ready for that. That'll be fun. Um, seeing them like make characters and do all this kind of shit. Um, but yeah, it's been enjoyable. I can actually send you the PDF for the player handbook if you ever want to like give it a read. Because it's yeah, character stuff is very. It seems difficult a little bit, but it's interesting. Like one of the things is like if you get an 18 in a skill, then you roll a D100, and it like if you roll higher, you get more benefits. So like even between a person with 18 strength, there's like three, there's like 4 tiers of 18 strength. There's like the godly, you know, next level 18 strength, and then there's like the more normal 18 strength, which I thought was pretty cool. But I'll shoot you over the PDF because I paid for the premium version, and they're very nice, very readable, which is something you don't get a lot. There you go, dude. I sent it right now, and you can share it with like you can share it with Dawn or something. Yeah. Yeah, immediately. Yeah, yeah. There you go, dude. I got it on this computer, you know. Share it with Dawn. I mean, I can send it to Dawn too. I'm just saying. I know you talk a lot, your friend. sorry, sorry, dude. Jesus, I wasn't trying to make you feel called out. Just more like a like a teacher, like pass it around. I'm passing out the workbook. Everybody take a look. Take one copy, pass it around. Yeah. But yeah. Yeah, like a test, exactly. Exactly. But yeah. Man, it has been quite a while since I streamed. Yeah, take one, pass it back. Exactly, dude. Absolutely. Layout one update. I have no idea what that means. Weird. Yeah, yeah, they're not gonna give it yeah, exactly. They're not really gonna give it to you. They're just gonna kinda you know, kinda like wave it a little bit. Here, take it, but it's like, all right. I gotta get up, The old days, dude, is to be back in school. My goodness. Yeah, hold it next to them. Yeah. Jeez. It's been so long. But yeah, I mean, fuck, we did an hour. I think I'm gonna chill here. I it's good to see that there's stuff working. I was having I was having some technical issues. I upgraded a lot of the stuff for the stream. So like I have a new mic holder or like a mic arm, I guess. I have some stuff that allows me to kind of adjust the mic easier quickly. How's Trill Jr.? He is good. He's he is growing every day, it feels like. And it's wild to see, you know. A year old, yeah, yeah. He's practically, yeah, yeah, practically an adult. Yeah, he makes his own food, sleeps all day. He just plays video games. No, Jesus, this is gonna be shit I'm actually gonna say at some point. Oh my god, it feels weird. From Pathfinder to 1E, what a pipeline. Yeah, I know, dude. I know. Gonna be working next year, exactly. Dude, I'm gonna have to put him to work. But yeah. Yeah. What a pipeline. Yeah. Well, I played 2E way back in the day. So it's kind of like a more like if you look at the pipeline, it's kind of like a circle, it's like we were here, we did this run around, and then it's kind of like, oh shit, we're kind of back where we started. But yeah, trying out 1E raw rules as written. No, not putting anything to the side, dude. No matter how weird it is sometimes, like WWE Raw, dude. Yeah, that's what it's called. Yeah, dude. Hell yeah. WrestleMania just passed. It was in Philly. Oh man, that was a big deal. Did you go? No. Were you there? And I missed it, dude. I missed it. I know. You know what's even more upsetting? Uh, the Eagles are gonna play an international game, and up until now, the only international games were played in England or Germany. And seeing that the Eagles were gonna have an international game, I was so fucking pumped up. But the NFL has added in new locations, so the Eagles are not coming to Europe. So I could not go, and I absolutely would absolutely do it if they were coming. They're going to fucking South America. They're going to Brazil. Yeah, no, man. I was gutted. Like, holy fuck. It, man. Like a throwback, exactly, dude. Like, and the games are always so crazy because they happen in the massive stadiums that are over here, and they're always full, and they're super cheap because football is not like a major deal. Yeah, I guess I have to go back to Philly. I have to wait. I hope they get another international game next year, or the year after this one, whatever. But yeah. Yeah. Rules as written, first edition, always on. It's gonna be buck wild. What I think is gonna be very fun is the patron and faction play. I've already got a handful of people who are ready to sign up to play like patron and faction play. That's gonna be fucking buck wild. Yeah, sandboxy for sure. Probably a more like drop in, drop out structure. I'm hoping to have like a core group for the days I'm going to be running, which are I'm not entirely sure the exact days. But I'm hoping for like a core group, and then as many people who want to drop in and drop out. You know, is there faction rules in 1A? So, faction play supplementing. Uh, so faction play and really like patron play, is a very I don't want to say new thing. Definitely supplementing. It's not. It's kind of given with some of like the domain style rules that you get in 1E. But it's a very uncodified sort of thing because the amount of things that a player can do, like for instance, in my offline game, one of the players or one of the faction players, the patron players, is he is a bugbear. His character is a bugbear, and he has a goblin tribe that essentially worships him, and so he plays as like a faction, as a patron. And essentially what he does is he gives me his orders every week. So he's got like his hex information, so he knows like what he rules, and then there's like a fog of war beyond his hex, right? Like beyond his like I think it's like 6x6 hex or something. Maybe smaller than that. Like maybe it's like 3x3 or something. He's essentially like in a swamp. And beyond that is like fog of war. So he's got to tell me. He gives me like week to week updates. Like so. I'll tell him, hey, what are your orders for this week? And he's like, okay, well, I'm scouting out the area, right? I'm using however many troops to scout out the area. And then I'm sending troops to this place, and this place. I want them to raid. I want them to attack, whatever it is. And since we're doing one-to-one time, I tell him like, okay, well, it'll take you, you'll get the information about the scouting tomorrow, but then in 2 or 3 days, right, you'll get the information of how the raids went. And then essentially as things happen, I'm sending him messages telling him how his orders went and what information he learned back. And right now, it seems very like board game Risk. Yeah, like imagine Risk, except like with Fog of War, with not knowing what everybody else on the board was doing. Right? Trying to get really granular. No, I actually prefer the the more loose structure of it. I don't know if I want to codify it, because I think if you start to like codify it too hard, it kind of takes away a portion of the, I don't know, kind of, I think like right now, it's definitely gonna be like a learning process. I'm gonna be updating things as I go. I don't know if I want to like fully codify it, because you narrow down the options if you define exactly, like telling a player like you can do literally anything. You have an army of I think the Bugbear Goblin tribe leader has like 300 something goblins, right? Like he essentially has his own encampment or whatever, his village, I guess, that he's like the worshipped by the goblins. So like these are your like warriors, right? Like you've got like 300 something goblin warriors, and so he gets to kind of play in more of like a Risk style where he's raiding nearby settlements. He's got a few like named goblins, which would probably be like class characters or something. I don't know, like with more than just like the single HD or something like that. And like one of the things that was interesting is that he doesn't know what the party is doing, the party of players. And he's not really focused on going after those players. So it's not like a him versus them sort of situation. It's just him playing in the world. And he sent some goblins to a nearby, like a small village. And the players happened to be there at the same time. And so when we ran the session, this is what's happening. the village that you just arrived in, yeah, they're getting raided by a fucking of goblins. And it's not me going, okay, now there's goblins raiding here for the story. It's like this player decided to send these goblins to this village, and now you players have to kind of deal with the consequences of what that happened. And they survived. They hid, right? They didn't attack. They didn't like defend the village. So they hid. They were able to survive, and the goblins raided the village. And then like in the session it's like, okay, what's next? It's like, oh fuck, this place is fucked now, and they're like, so the players have to like make these kind of important decisions. And I'm thinking like the more we add in patron players who play like this, like faction type players who kind of have these overarching playing the setting sort of characters, the more that starts to overlap, and then throw in like the players themselves, I think it's going to be fucking insane. And the feeling like the setting is always on, right? Every day something is always happening. There's definitely some growth spots, I guess, that like you kind of have to get a little used to, like what happens if during downtime between sessions, you're in a village that does get like heavily attacked, like does your character die? Like there's some tough spots like that, that I'm still figuring, because it would be really shitty. But at the same time, I think the more you buy into the play style, the less you care about that stuff, right? Like you're more just like, oh shit, they're dead. Okay, well then, I'm pulling up, fighter number 2, right? Like, what's up, Chris? How you doing, buddy? Yeah, very asymmetric in a cool way. Yeah, it's and not having to do anything, like not having as a GM, like it's a very double-edged sword. It seems like with XCOM, I always got really attached to the specific operators. Yeah, I think that definitely has a has a part in it. I think it's kind of weighing out the like what is the one-to-one time, is the faction play, like is all of this stuff worth these kind of sore spots? And I could just be like, well, if you do get attacked, like you'll just go to the, you know, you'll just go to the nearest settlement or something like that. I could try to just be like, okay, well, if something does happen in the downtime, to make it a bit like easier, but at the same time, part of me kind of like enjoys the idea of like, shit, maybe your character could die like, like in between sessions, you know, like I don't know, I don't. It adds so much of it adds to the world that it's hard for me. I don't know. It's yeah, it's a learning thing, right? I'm still learning, so. But the best part I think is that it lets people who like, for instance, if I'm running like on specific days, say I'm like running like Monday and I don't know, like Wednesday or Monday, Saturday, um, these type of things. Like, what if I'm playing on a day that you can't actually play full time as a player? Well, on the off chance that you can join in, if the time does line up, you can join in just for the one session, and you don't have to feel like beholden to making it every week. But also on the flip side, if you still want to get involved, you can always play a patron. You can always play a faction, right? And right now it's just been the one so far, but like thinking of like factions like interacting with each other, you know, maybe not even telling me everything, like just kind of like having like this existing like world essentially, kind of going on all at the same time, I think adds like so much craziness. um it's got to get like, you know, it's got to be, the juice is worth the squeeze, I think is the best way to put it, you know. Yeah, patrons get senpai time for sure. You want to be juiced, exactly. You want to be juiced, yeah, or squeeze, yeah. Yeah, this like fully living, always on world though, um even just testing it with one patron player and one party has been fucking insane. Like just these interactions alone have been like, okay, you know, and then thinking like, okay, well then if this scales up, how is this going to be? And just like seeing how it works out, holy fuck, it could be next level. That being said, I do think there's a limit to it. I don't think I don't think I'm not entirely sure, you know, I could handle like 100 faction players. You know, I think there'd be like this explosion of weekly orders that would fucking avalanche me, right? So that's part of it. Yeah, it could be cool to drop in a one shot here and there that take place during the same timeline. Could allow you to explore these different scenarios. Yeah, like playing as the goblins. Yeah, right. That'd be fucking wild, right? Yeah. Or yeah. Oh man, I didn't even think about that. Right. Like if I know, if I know what this, like, if say for instance, I didn't have, I didn't have a, I didn't have a party, you know. For instance, like with the goblin story specifically, right? I know that the raid is happening on this X day. It just happens to be the day that we actually are playing our session, right? If I didn't have that session to run with like people being like, hey, this is kind of like a last minute announcement, but does anybody want to run some goblins during this raid on Friday, right? Um, and then just actually like just running it straight up like, this is the order of the bugbear. You guys are playing the 100 goblins he sent to this village, you know, as each of your goblins dies. Like, like what's happening, you know? And just having them, like having people play out. Damn, that is like another level I didn't even consider it. Holy fuck, that could be wild. Like in real time, playing out the goblin scenario, or like playing out the this order, this battle, maybe. Hmm. Yeah, that is that could be fucking. Dude, my brain is vibrating. What the fuck? I'm fucking, I'm going to the next level. Yeah. Yeah, you get a Thieves Guild faction run by a player, then later on have a one shot where the party are a bunch of thief mooks raiding a castle. Yeah, dude. Holy fuck, dude. That could be, damn, in like real time. Like this is the order that, you know, like telling the faction player, like, hey, check out the stream on, you know, on Friday, because that's when your thieves are gonna be fucking raiding this castle, you know? And then throw on the stream and it's just whoever was able to show up for that Friday being like, all right, this is what we're doing today, you know? And it being like holy shit, like seeing out, you know, damn, that could be fucking, sick. Wow, that adds like another layer that I wasn't really thinking about. Yeah, exactly. And the thieves get caught, right? The thieves, they blow it, right? They just get fucking annihilated. It's like, yep, you saw it, you know, you saw what happened. They fucked it up. You watched it live. You know, here's the recording or some shit, right? Here's the VOD. Damn. Wow. Jeez. Sorry, I'm quiet. I'm like really thinking this over because this adds like another layer to everything. Um, yeah, take this black powder with you. It'll help you get through the gates, and then watch them fucking ignite themselves, and 50, 50, 50 thieves are gone in one move. Fuck. They blew up the castle wall, but they died in the process. Now you got to send another, you know, another faction order, dude. There you go. The wall is open. Jesus. Holy shit. Wow. Dude, and the thing is that this could expand, like, you know, at least it'll be easier with the wall down. You'd hope, right? Now they got 100 guards stationed around that hole in the wall. How much the faction players? Yeah. Starting level and gear. Yeah, dude. just make it like a role, you know, like a kind of like the way like 1E does everything, right? Like console the table, make a roll, boom, you got 10 mooks to go do this, you know. You're playing the 5 you choose, and if your character dies, you got this backup character, but after that, you're done, right? Get the job done. Fucking SEAL Team 6. And they do it, and then the faction turn is successful. If it works out that way, yeah. Wow. Man, that yeah, that is a fucking fantastic idea. And I think as long as like everybody's trusting and everybody's using like the same map, like imagining like multiple GMs kind of expanding the area as well. Then you could play the redneck faction. Dude, yeah. That's one of the things though too, is like people who are gonna be playing the patron and faction stuff will have like free reign to play like what they want to play. You know? They'll be able to make up the faction that they're playing, right? You know, I want to be, for instance, Chris, you could say like, I can't make the weekly sessions, but I want to be a faction player, right? I want to be a patron player. I want to play the hobgoblins in um the Dudas marches, right? The Order of the Wang right? I thought the Vogians were the rednecks. No, that's the ones above the Vogians, the Brevikians or whatever you want to call them, the Brevites. they're the true rednecks. They're like the yeah. We don't want to live in civilized land. We want to live on the frontier. You know? But the Brevik, yeah. But yeah, like Chris could say, like I want to play the Hobgoblin in the. I forgot the name of that fucking spot. Every time I think of it, I do not remember the name that was given to it. The Brevnecks. There you go, dude. Um, here I'm pulling up the map now. The Dismal Mire, the Dismal Marshes. Yeah, yeah, Dismal Mire, Dismal Marshes. And so you would have like a little map that shows the mire, right? This is what you see. This is what you know what's happening, and you know what's happening in these hexes at all times. But then you see like beyond your hex, you know. If you want to know what's going on out there, you got to send out troops, you know, to do some scouting reports. You gotta, and then through the week, you make your orders. You know. It, yeah. The reason I always bring up that spot is because that's where this next round of campaigns is going to be. It's going to be exactly where all the fucking wards have popped up. It's in that spot right between Dukan and Volgia, with Farum, with Torakarn, with the Dismal Mire, with the Dudas Marches. Like that whole region is where we're gonna be at. So yeah. Damn. I gotta really think this idea through. The occasional like one shots of like here's the faction turn. Where the wards die. Or where where they're victorious. Cause who knows? You know, somebody could play as a faction, the wars, they could be the best faction player. Fucking wargaming the fuck out of everybody. But yeah. Jeez. Gonna be sick, dude. Gonna be sick. No Trill, we kill the war. You attempt to, right? Mulk is gonna be playing, dude. Melk is gonna step it up. The bring him back the ward. Bring him back the ward. Mulk. Be the most ruthless of them all. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the thing that I have found that is the most interesting about the faction player, because I thought like doing this, like you're not really playing, like like you're not playing as you would be in like a traditional like tabletop game, right? You're not like at the weekly game, you're not like rolling dice all the time, like kind of in the moment. But this faction player really kind of did it as like a favor to me, right? I just said like, hey, can you do this? I don't want to be the one running this, right? You just tell me what's happening. You only have to message me one time a week, right? Like, it won't be something that we have to constantly talk about, right? Um, and this person is not very tabletop adjacent. They're a friend of mine who's just big on fantasy, like in general, but they've never really gotten into like D&D. They never really got into like playing tabletop. Um, Dude, this person is like fucking messaging me nonstop, like new ideas. One thing that they wanted to do is they have goblins and they're in a swamp. And I said something like, there's these massive, I described them as like giant, like, giant, not butterflies. What are the other ones? Dragonflies, right? And so I said there's these giant dragonflies, right? Enough that a goblin could ride one. A goblin could fly one, right? And I said they're huge, so you have to be careful. This initially was pitched as kind of like a just be careful where you send these goblins to. And then he was like, then he was like, well, can I can I train them? Can I capture a few of them and domesticate these dragonflies, right? We made some rolls. Like, it was kind of like no rules, right? I was like, here, roll me a few. I'll see. Like, you're able to catch a few. You'll probably lose a few on the attempt because they're pretty deadly. And they were able to. And so now he's got goblins flying these massive dragonflies through the swamps. And they're the scouts. And so they can go farther, faster. They're not bogged down in the swamp itself, so they fly right over it. So that fog of war around their hex is kind of essentially opened up much larger. And they got flying goblins on fucking massive dragonflies. Very, I don't know what to describe that, like what world of genre that is, but yeah. Never did I think that that would be a case, right? It's a great way to start. Your faction play doesn't really have any rules, super freeform, so no expectations. Modern TTRPGs are not great at welcoming new players. Yeah, right? Like, if you get bogged down in like the I guess like the sludge that is like codified rule sets, you definitely feel very constrained, right? Like, I mean, it's kind of like what we said earlier, right? Like a lot of people who haven't been playing like TTRPGs for long, like they'll come into a game and you'll say like, yeah, you can do anything you want, right? And then they'll make a character, and then they'll think like the only thing they can do is on that character sheet, or they do it like, there's kind of like a middle ground, because then you have people who do it like the exact opposite, where it's like, yeah, it's free play, like you can do anything you want, and they kind of take like you can do literally anything you want almost a bit way too literal, right? And and then you get like somebody who's like playing like it's like a you get somebody who plays it like almost way too open world, like a video game, uh maybe not way too open world, but like video gamey open world rather than like tabletop open world, which are probably very different experiences. Yeah, because the way we did it, I was like, okay, pick a bugbear. Like we looked at the monster manual, we picked out the bugbear, right? And then like I was like, so what do you want this tribe to be? Like, you want to be a bugbear leader of the bugbear tribe? And he was like, no, like let's make it a bit more interesting, And then he was like, I'll have a bunch of goblins worship me. And so we checked like the monster manual, and then I was like, okay, make a dice roll. This is how many, goblins you have. Yeah, I think where stuff will potentially break is probably like if I were to introduce some sort of like a trade system. I think like that's the one thing I'll probably just leave out forever. Because I think if you're smart enough, any economical type of system is going to be just easily broken, right? Because like people are gonna exploit like loopholes where they can, and I don't. Yeah. I mean, I guess like I could just like bully somebody. I could be like, like if they're like I clearly see what you're doing. Like, go fuck yourself. I'm not gonna let you do that, right? Just bully the player into realizing that they're not gonna be able to break the game. That might be the best approach if I were to ever do something like that. But I did think, like, so far we haven't touched on like trade stuff. We've done wargaming. We've done like the faction type stuff. Yeah, it doesn't work that way, but I'm not explaining why exactly. Yeah, it doesn't work that way. Why not? Because I'm stronger than you, right? Yeah. If they get rich and they got rich, yeah, it just introduces this new problem. Yeah, because then not only, but you're like a big target now. You've got a ton of gold, right? But no, I mean like in the more probably in more of like a different kind of breaking way, right? Like less about gold and probably more about like resource stuff, like being able to have essentially making themselves like almost unassailable in a practical sense. I think that'd be pretty boring, right? Because I did this, I control everything, right? Because I feel like in most, like I'm trying to think, like Axe has a pretty way too defined economical system, and I'm not sure if and I feel like it can be broken heavily. I'm not entirely confident on saying that, but it seems like there has to be some sort of like exploitable situation involved. Nothing can be unbreakable, right? So yeah. But until trade, I think like everything else we've kind of like really gotten a chance into. The only thing that's kind of waiting is like the politic, the play between political figures, right? When faction players are starting to like make alliances between themselves, and shit like that, I think that's gonna be like really when the faction play really like takes the next step. One of the important takes I got from Introvids was setting up what you are hand waving for consistency. Like if you aren't tracking it, it doesn't matter. What's the point of food if you don't track it? Money, comfort. Yeah, we're 100% tracking everything. Yeah, we're not hand waving anymore, dude. Thankfully, Foundry makes that super easy. If we were playing with pen and paper, it would be very difficult. But because it's Foundry, it's gonna be a whole lot easier to kind of keep a hand on all of it. I'm missing all of it. What do you mean? One of four. I think something's happening. Oh, add. Jesus, I thought you were talking about AD, like as in advanced instrument track. Jeez. Tracking like encumbrance and stuff like that. Thankfully it's baked into Foundry, but it's the AD&D 1E rules for like what counts as what. Yeah. So, yeah, like just straight up rules as written encumbrance. Just seeing how it plays. You know, I think that's like the one thing I want to. It's definitely for faction play. Oh yeah, for faction play, it's more kind of spreadsheetish, right? But like simple spreadsheet. Yeah. But Chris, to answer your question, in case you missed, or rather knowing you did miss, we're not hand waving anything, but Foundry makes it easy, right? Like we're gonna track encumbrance, we're gonna track food, like we're gonna track money. All of those things are gonna be tracked, but Foundry makes it easy, so it's not something you really have to kind of, but that means you do have to hire pack mules. That means you do have to hire, maybe men at arms, right? You do have to kind of, yeah. Yeah. So I think that'll be, yeah. But I want to run because so many people say like it's an impossibility, and then there's a lot of people who are saying like if you run the system rules as written, yeah, and 2E you stop tracking rations, and yeah, but faction like Foundry didn't really track rations that well. Like I mean, it tracked the number of them, but it didn't track like when you had to eat and stuff like that. Whereas it does in this one. Like it'll actually prompt you, like okay, you're camping, all right, here's the automatic ration. You don't have rations, okay, stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. I think it's been an hour and 40, so I think I'm gonna chill here. There's definitely a lot to think about. I definitely have to think about the CJ stuff, dude. That is fucking next level, the faction stuff. Yeah, I'm out of ration. I'll eat his foot, exactly. Yeah, I get why it exists, but it doesn't strike me as a fun mechanic. It doesn't introduce an interesting dilemma. Packing up food isn't very exciting, in my opinion. Yeah, I think like rations is probably gonna be a bit more of like the. I think it has its place. I think say like you're like a frontier, and you bring like 100 men with you to kind of clear out this frontier to try and start the start a settlement or something. Knowing you only have like 30 days of rations for everybody, and then it being like, well, this natural event, half of your rations are spoiled. You've only got 15 days, right? I think it has more place in faction play than it does in like the single player party level of play. It's more interesting that way, I guess I should say. Yeah. I'm okay hand waving stuff as long as it's constantly from the start. Yeah. Yeah, no. I don't want to hand wave anything this time around. I want to run it straight rules as written. Just to see, And yeah. Yeah, because at that point it's like a settlement game. Yeah, it's more of like it's like um it's like Crusader Kings, right? Or it's like one of these types of games, right? You kind of like you move out of we track bowel movements. Yeah, Jesus Christ. Yeah. Yeah, roll for digestion, Uh-oh, you didn't get enough fiber. Uh-oh, like now roll for disease or some shit. I don't know. It's been a couple days. Oh shit, like where are we going with this one? Yeah. Funny stuff. But yeah, okay. I'm gonna chill here for now. There's a lot of stuff to think about to kind of try to wrap my mind around and kind of put some thought to everything. Hydration. Water is very important. But yeah, man. Thanks you guys for hanging out a bit. It's been a while since we streamed, obviously. So getting back into the swing of things. All recent events and everything aside, it'll be very fun. Looking forward to I've been playing this off stream, but getting this into the community and seeing how the community kind of interacts with it, I think is going to be super important. And I think that's going to be like where I'm enjoying it now, but I think like that's going to take, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it crashes and burns, right? Maybe everybody hates it. I don't know. Yeah, I'm so Mozart. I'm so Bach. Yeah. But yeah. We are back. Next week there'll be more streams. We'll be back like into the swing of things, proper, doing some world building stuff, making like a world building thread. We had some interesting ideas earlier about like expanding thoughts around the veil and how people kind of think about that stuff. Maybe I'll make that like the world building idea of the week, and we'll actually get back into threads, get back into Friday loregasms, stuff like that. So thank you all for hanging out. Hope you all have a good week. Hope you have a great weekend. Enjoy yourselves, and weighing out varieties. There we go, dude. And yeah, hope you all have a good one. See ya maybe next week, next Monday. That'll be the next time I stream for sure. And if not, then we'll see you when we see you. Appreciate all the ideas. Definitely there's a lot of inspiration, so I'm feeling very good moving forward. And I think that's a great sign of like what's to come. But yeah, thank you all. Hope you have a good day, good evening, depending on where you are in the world. And see ya next time, or see ya when we see ya. Peace.